10 craziest Joe Rogan conspiracy theories. No, I'm not gonna even do that.
Today, we're
Let's just
gonna
get
look
to
at 10
it.
of the craziest conspiracy theories that Joe
I like Joe
has
Rogan,
talked
man.
about on his podcast.
If you're a big, I'm a big
famous
UFC fan,
space
so I like Joe
expedition
Rogan.
That may just be a
That's how I
Hollywood
found out about
production.
him.
In a recent episode, Joe Rogan and Ben Askren sat down to
Do y'all watch his podcast? Let me know. Let
talk
me know
about
down below.
conspiracy theories, and of course, they discussed 9/11, wars with Cuba, and naturally the moon landing as well.
The moon landing one's my favorite.
Really?
I got balls deep in that for years. I was.
Whoa!
So you think they did not go to the moon?
No, I don't think that anymore.
Okay.
But you know what I think now? I think I don't know.
Though Rogan did acknowledge that he no
Oh wait, so he don't think it's real, but he doesn't know what it
longer
is.
believes in the conspiracy, he did shed light on some of the things that seemed a little strange.
Like what?
Without unmanned drones like what we have on Mars and things like that, we've never really sent a living thing out through the magnetosphere, through the Van Allen radiation belts. Into
What
deep
the fuck is he
space,
talking
have it,
about?
you
This
know,
sounds
there's
smart now.
All these possibilities of solar flares and anything that would have killed them.
I'm a little
instantly.
lost.
They just did that, and then we haven't been able to do that since 1972.
The boys then jumped into possible future
That is true, man. Like in our bro, 1972. It's 2025, bro. That's almost that's about 50 years almost. Are you telling me technology got worse
visits
since
it's been so long since
1972?
they've been there, but maybe future missions were delayed due to
That
the
does look
damning
fake.
backstory of NASA's head engineer during the space race.
Then it gets weird when you find out that Werner von Braun was a fucking Nazi.
Who?
Werner von Braun, the guy he was the head of NASA. He was the guy who
okay,
organized the moon landings, and he was the head rocket guy.
He was part of Nazis?
That guy was a legit Nazi. Like, he was wanted by the Simon Wiesenthal Center said that if he was alive today, they would prosecute him for crimes against humanity.
Damn.
The 5 slowest workers every day in front of his Berlin rocket factory. Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Though Rogan and Askren both admit that
He said he would what?
They would the 5
They said.
slowest workers.
What
every day
the
in front of
fuck?
his
That's
Berlin
just
rocket
evil.
factory. Oh yeah, no, 100%.
though Rogan
Nah,
and
I didn't know he
Askren
said that
both
at
admit that
first.
they do not believe the landing
That's
was fake,
wild.
they did take time to look at the announcements made by NASA and poked fun at how weird the press conference was, as well as other strange ways that NASA offered proof.
The press conference from 1969 when they returned from the moon is one of the most cryptic, weird things you'll ever see. These guys look like they just stole something and they're being questioned. I've never seen a video where people look like they're more full of shit than that video of the press conference from 1969.
And if that wasn't enough to convince you, they even took the time to check out the proof that was offered as
All right,
well.
let's see.
There's videos of the flag moving in a non-existent breeze, which is weird too. And they try to make some logical
there's no
explanations for
wind.
why the flag could be moving.
There's
in a
no wind on the
vacuum, and
moon.
Some of it makes sense, but some of it doesn't. Homeboy falls down, and then it looks like he gets yanked back up. Look at this. Whoops.
Oh, he did not. That is
Like, what
not
is
him.
that?
standing up.
Yeah.
What is this?
That's not
Look.
him standing up. You can't stand up like that.
How did he stand up like that?
But you're on the
That's
moon.
on stream.
Okay, so you realize you're in
No.
1/6 Earth's gravity.
But there was nothing to make him go like this.
Exactly.
Right? You can't get up.
Whichever way you slice it, there could have been some weird things going on, but as Rogan pointed out, he knows nothing about the science behind rockets in space, and neither do we. But the next conspiracy stays down on Earth with a little known Nazi who may not be as dead as we thought.
No.
Like, finding Hitler. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
They found Hitler. He died.
Yeah, I mean,
Not really?
we don't know.
Rogan invited Tim Kennedy onto a podcast.
They think
episode
he's
where they started
alive? They think
discussing
Hitler
the
is alive?
possibility that the Hitler of Forbes top 5
I mean, he should be dead by now. Isn't he from like the fucking the early 1900s?
worst person ever may actually still be alive. Though Rogan was not so sure,
Hey,
Kennedy
him or
pointed out
Trump?
how there is proof that
Who's-
the U.S. was still
who's more
searching for
racist?
Hitler at the end of World War II.
And there were a bunch of specifically FBI documents that we were spending millions and millions of dollars actively searching for after the war. As was yeah, like millions of dollars.
Just to
Who
find
was
this
like,
man?
No. Send more FBI agents to South America, to North Africa, go to the Canary Islands. Go
Damn,
to
they
Spain,
really want this
trying
man
to find out where
dead
this
in
guy
the ground.
lives.
I mean, I
What
can
does that
understand
mean
why.
for the
but-
guy who supposedly killed himself in the bunker.
The Russians got the body, and they got his skull. And when they brought it back to Moscow, nobody has ever been able to independently verify who and what this body is. They
Yeah.
let one genetic test occur, and the body with the bullet holes that they said was and have said, and that's the narrative, that's the story, that's all the eyewitness accounts that are even in the vicinity of corroborating each other's testimony. Like the closest version, because none of it seems to be very accurate, is that, okay, here's her skull.
Yeah.
And when they did the genetic testing, it's that of a 35-year-old woman.
What?
Oh, well, this isn't Hitler, but
So they used a 35-year-old woman instead of does Hitler look feminine or something?
they've said for the past 80 years that this is Hitler.
Kennedy would continue saying how near the end of the war, Berlin was in complete chaos and there was no way to really know for sure what happened as everyone would have different accounts. He then goes on to say that most Nazis went to South America, mostly in Argentina, and that there's a good chance that Hitler was there as well.
But what you got
Damn.
in South America were
That's
isolated
crazy. He probably is over there.
German-only communities.
Fuck
you
him.
could go into Bariloche, Argentina.
Fuck that man. Go kill him.
And I'd be like, "Buenos dias, amigos," and they're like, "Guten Morgen." I'm like, "Oh."
According to him, not
Good
only
morning.
is Hitler still alive, but his descendants are still kicking in Argentina as well, and they may still believe in their grandfather's ideology.
I just noticed. What if Hitler? Obviously, he has like they said, grandkids and shit. They're still living.
How
Are
many
they evil
people
little
are we
fucks
talking
as well?
about all told in South America that come out of this? I mean, tens of thousands went there, but how many German?
Imagine they go to school with you and you're
Maybe
sitting next to
have
them.
50 German communities.
50.
A
How many people?
few 100,000.
As crazy as that
Damn.
may sound, Argentina doesn't seem to be the next fascist regime, but maybe non-Aryan tourists may reconsider going there this summer. In the end, Rogan ended up asking the question that we were all thinking, and Kennedy didn't seem to have the concrete proof.
What is it? Is he alive?
Are there any legitimate eyewitness accounts of Hitler in South America, or potentially legitimate?
Absolutely, potentially.
Potentially.
Though I guess we will never know for sure if Hitler is dead or alive, there is another conspiracy
There's
theory
no way
that
he's
may
alive,
also
though.
stand the test of time, and that's how the pyramids were actually built.
Okay,
It's
the
been long
pyramids.
debated that the ancient
Great
Egyptians
pyramids of
lacked the
Egypt.
technology necessary to build the pyramids as they are now, which has led many to believe that it was simply not them. Because
What's
of this,
the point
on
of the
one Rogan's
pyramids?
infamous podcast episodes, he
Like when you build a building, people usually like live inside of it or something. Is it hollow on the inside or is it just like a fucking triangle they made?
openly discusses the possibility that maybe someone or something helped them out.
The other thing is when we talk about these ancient
We got
technologies,
Santa Claus in this bit.
if we're only looking for a mere reflection of ourselves, we could overlook it completely because I think there's evidence that exists now. I mean, some modern researchers whose work has been buried or suppressed, I think we're getting very close to rediscovering some of the things that our ancient ancestors were up to.
Though the idea of technology that uses sound to help move objects sounds super interesting,
Sound-
it seems
What
the
the
reason we
fuck?
can't find it is because the technology
this
is
man
so
wearing a
advanced that
skirt?
archaeologists wouldn't recognize it, especially since apparently the technology has been wiped from our memories.
Men in Black.
was this ancient apocalypse 12,800 years ago that wiped that from the human memory banks almost completely. Not
What? Do
entirely
y'all believe in
because they were
aliens?
survived.
I feel like aliens
Whether
are real.
that was
I'm
the
gonna be
case
honest.
or not, Graham Hancock came back
Some
to
of these
enlighten
humans be
us
looking
on
weird
lost
as fuck, bro.
civilizations and offer some insight
having
on
no
how
necks,
modern day
extra
ideas of how they
dinglings and
made the
shit.
pyramids make absolutely no sense.
How long a ramp do I need with a 10-degree slope to get to 350 feet above the ground? And the answer is you need a fucking long ramp, which should still be there because it couldn't have been a sand ramp. It would have collapsed under the weight of those stones. It had to be as massive as the pyramid
shit.
itself. So this begins to seem like an absurd idea. The idea that is foisted on us by
I get what
archaeology.
they're saying.
Maybe the idea that they regard as absurd, namely
So the
that
pyramid's
psychic
350
powers
feet
were
high?
cultivated by ancient civilizations, that they could use powers of the human mind that we have allowed to lapse. Maybe that idea deserves further consideration.
Ancient technology
maybe it
sounds
does.
amazing, and ancient civilizations have always been an interesting topic, especially for
Is this
Rogan
the
and
inside of
Hancock
it?
specifically, as they've discussed these things before, but in places that you would never have guessed.
Okay,
What I
Antarctica.
find most striking is the presence of Antarctica on ancient maps, because we didn't discover it until 1820, and yet it's on maps drawn in the 1500s with
What?
great detail, which again were based on much older source maps that have now been lost to us.
Antarctica has been an interest for many people as its terrifyingly
Look at the little
cold
penguin.
environment would make it a hellscape for almost anyone who found
Imagine
themselves
living in
trapped
Antarctica.
there, but it is possible that people were there long before we
Can
ever
people even?
discovered
Is that even
it.
legal?
The so-called Pinkerton World Map. I don't know if you
Like,
can,
who has
if
a
you
birth
can find it
certificate that
yet.
says Antarctica,
Drawn,
bro?
I think, in 1813 or 1818, based on the latest exploration data at that time. And
Hell
where
no. Oh my
Antarctica
God, be
Antarctica
frozen, bro.
Yeah, that one. Keep going right.
If
It just
anything
shows a
gets
hole
below like
where
60, I'm
Antarctica
sitting
is.
in my room. I ain't going outside.
Because it was an honest map. Nobody had
Right.
found it by then. But if you go back to, for example, the Wolsey-Wooler world map drawn in 1530 or thereabouts, you find Antarctica is present. That map shows Antarctica exactly where it should be. And it shows it, there we go. There's Antarctica at the tip of South America, just south of South Africa.
And what did they call it back then?
Well, they call it the Southern Land.
So maybe
southern
Antarctica
land.
wasn't actually discovered yet, or maybe it was being hidden from us all this time, but Hancock has his own theory, of course.
To me, the obvious answer is we are dealing with the fingerprints of a lost civilization that mapped the world and that left evidence of that mapping, which ancient map makers found and used and incorporated into their maps. These maps can be very confusing because they were trying to mix exploration data from their own period with data from the older maps. But when you look at these maps in depth, they're very, very intriguing.
Ancient technology and civilizations are always incredible to study, especially when sometimes there are certain things missing that could maybe answer all of the questions we have, and the next conspiracy may actually address where all the traces went.
So what's the point of that? They didn't discover Antarctica. Or they forgot to. Maybe the author forgot to write it on the fucking map. All right, maybe
Rogan
that's all it
invited
was.
Jimmy Corsetti to discuss conspiracy theories, and Corsetti
Alright, maybe that's
had
all the
one
fuck it
idea
was.
that would be terrifying if it were
Adam
true.
and Eve
It's a
theory.
planet flip 90 degree, and that because of it, the Earth essentially does a standstill. The sun will basically stay in the same spot, causing heating like we've never experienced, and that the wind and the waters continue with their momentum. Because essentially the wind travels at approximately 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So the theory is that when that event happens, it's going to be cataclysmic.
Though that may sound crazy, the sun's
Cataclysmic.
Earth's rotation
Never
would
heard
actually
that one.
cause an enormous tsunami. And
Tsunami!
Corsetti actually thinks that it might have happened before.
Here's the wild thing is that in that document it says a continental-sized tsunami being 2 miles high.
2 miles
Damn.
Yes. And I'm like, it would make a lot of sense. Like if you look at the Bible and involving like Revelations and it's saying like
6 days.
6 days on the seventh day
Yeah.
God rested. In that document it says 6 days things start simmering down a bit, and by day 7 things are starting over new. If the details discussed in it are accurate, the reason why we're not seeing the evidence of it is because it flips right back and thus masks the evidence that it ever happened.
This is called
Whoa.
the Adam and Eve theory because it would basically be a giant reset for the Earth, leaving everything underwater. If this were
So they
to
just
actually
reset
happen, though, you can
the
take
Earth.
comfort in the fact that there may indeed be an afterlife, just not the one that you heard about in Sunday school, according to this next theory.
Oh,
On his
shit.
podcast, Rogan
The
has spoken
afterlife
many
theory.
times about what he thinks happens after we die, and his thoughts seem to be that it doesn't go all black like some may believe, but it's not exactly pearly
That's a
gates
scary
either.
looking
The theory that many
photo.
people have is that death opens up a chemical gateway in the mind, and that chemical gateway takes whatever the soul is, whatever consciousness is, and transports it into this new realm. It allows you,
Okay.
your conscious mind, to act.
Hey, what do you guys think happens after death in the
access
afterlife?
this new realm, which is available to you upon death.
He talks about how psychedelics open the mind to this realm in the short term, but when we die, he believes that it will be fully available to us and that there will be a way for us to map it out.
Because it's
What?
an IV, because it's coming in a drip. It's like constant and continuous. And these people are going to the same place and they're having repeatable experiences. So instead of having like a 15-minute DMT trip, which a lot of people have, that's like overwhelming, you can't even figure out what's going on, then it's over. Instead of that, you're going to the exact same place over and over and over again and getting more and more comfortable with it and coming back with very similar stories.
really.
So yeah, it's a repeatable environment where they're encountering entities and they're trying to map it.
If that is the case, then remember that the next time you get caught
okay.
with some substance on you, you can always tell the cops that you're mapping out the afterlife for everyone. It's guaranteed to get you out of cuffs.
Guys, don't
And
do
though
that.
it may
Don't do
get
that
you
shit.
arrested and land you in prison.
she got a
according
star
to
on her
Rogan's
head.
next theory, you've probably already
lock her up.
technically
Don't let her
been
out.
there before.
Infinite
Neil deGrasse Tyson
universes.
explained this to me because this is a mind and a half.
Yo, I was
Universes-
just talking about this, like, I think legit yesterday. I remember asking my friends, I'm like, that's crazy. Y'all think the universe just goes on and on and on and on? Like, it doesn't
so
stop?
big.
There's no
that
end?
Not only is there another you out there that has done everything exactly as you've done to every pause, like that pause, every pause, down to the second.
Yeah.
An infinite number of times.
You're talking, what is it called? The in an infinite universes, there's this exact
Yeah,
conversation
Andrew Schultz- is that
happening.
Andrew
People
Schultz,
look
right?
exactly
Yeah,
like
he
that
looked
because
young.
Infinity implies that there
And
could be a million.
infinite variations.
Right.
There's one where you get up right now and you have to take a piss.
Right,
and
right.
you run out of the room.
Or
There's-
Charlemagne's there, you're here, I'm there.
This concept has been discussed
What the
before.
fuck,
Since there's an
Charlemagne?
infinite amount of possibilities in the ever-expanding universe, eventually there will be another version of you. Though this can be pretty tough
so
to
I got
wrap
a
your
twin
head
out
around,
there.
Rogan gives us an idea of the
Imagine
true
meeting
scale
my
of things.
twins.
when you think of infinity,
Right.
we think about it as being really big. It's not. It's impossible
Yeah.
to put in your head.
Yeah.
The infinite universes, like the size of the universe, 14 billion light
That's
years
kinda
apart,
cool. It's kinda
infinite
scary,
numbers
but
of
it's kinda
those.
cool.
Not only that, they think that inside every galaxy is a supermassive black hole, and inside that black hole may be another universe with hundreds of billions of galaxies, with hundreds of billions of black holes. Inside each one of those, hundreds of billions of galaxies, hundreds of billions of black holes. That it's fractal.
Long story short, don't try to think about it too much, but whenever you have a tough choice to make, remember that a version of you has probably already done it. According to this
okay.
next theory, though, if you do make the wrong choice, you may be able to make up for it like
Whoa,
you never
time traveling?
That's going to change the universe.
Back to the
is that
future.
One day someone's going to invent a time machine. And that when they invent a time machine, all time ceases to become linear.
Despite this, though, Rogan's next theory of time travel means that this concept would have some rules.
You can't travel where there are no roads. So once a road gets built, then you can travel. So once a time machine gets invented, then anyone from the invention of the time machine forward to forever.
Y'all
can
think
come
a
back
time
to that
machine is,
moment
like, actually
and can
real?
Go to any
I don't know
point in
about
time
that, bro. There's no
from
way
that
someone can make a
moment to the
time
end of
machine.
time.
Like, how does
With
that
this
even
theory,
work?
You may not be able to prove that Hitler didn't kill himself. There are plenty of ways you could use this to your advantage.
Like
But
what?
As time travel gets more and more sophisticated, you can go back and forth in time while you're talking to people. You know, if you don't like what you said, you could rewind and start all over again. If you're in an argument with your wife, you can go to the library and get information and come back and go, actually,
What if you win the lotto?
this once said, and then bam.
I feel like that's kind of
As
evil
far as
and
kind
like
of
cheating
Time
life.
travel may be a dream for
You go and
some,
play the
but
lottery
dreams
numbers?
for others
Whoa,
could mean
whoa.
something totally different. In a podcast episode a couple years ago, while on the topic of different realities, Rogan has spoken about how he thinks there's the possibility that every time we sleep, we actually drift into a parallel universe.
What?
Every time you went to sleep and you woke up, you passed into a nearby and very similar universe.
What do you
but not
mean?
quite the same. And depending upon your choices and how you live your life, it's how you wake up and what new one you pop into on the other side. And everyone's just a little bit different. The whole world changes just a little bit each time you make a decision, one way or another. Everything changes. when
Why
you
is
wake
he
up.
like?
You
Why
think
is he
the
being
world's
so
static,
seductive to me?
because it is when you're awake. You have no fucking idea what's happening while you're asleep. And when you wake up again, you have this foggy recollection of the past. And that's what you're going by.
Okay.
You're going by every morning waking up with a foggy recollection of the past.
According to Rogan, slipping into another universe may be something that we all do, so be careful if you're a regular napper, and hopefully the universe you fall into isn't one that's lying about aliens, since that could be a possibility as well,
Hell
according
no,
to Rogan.
I better be
This
in some
next
good
conspiracy
universe.
is pretty bonkers, and to understand the beginning of it, it's important to know that
One
outer
world
space
government.
is apparently fake.
But space is fake.
What? Wait,
sounds
what?
rid-
It's important to know that outer space is apparently fake.
But
What?
space is fake sounds ridiculous. Like there's
something
we're
So when I look up, what am I looking at, huh?
looking at it and it's fake. That's ridiculous. That's
just
not what
the
it means. It
Truman
means
Show.
that all the information. We got to buy all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky.
Yeah, something
They're
else.
lying. They're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're lying to us.
According to Eddie Bravo on this
They're
episode
lying
of
about
Rogan,
stars?
everything that you've been hearing from NASA is actually not real, and that's because
Whoa,
they have
whoa,
some
hella
nefarious
ashy.
goals in mind. See, according to him, their whole plan is to set up a one-world government, and what better way to make us trust the government than a threat from outer space?
The only way
So they're lying to us?
make a one-world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it, because nobody wants it. So the trick is,
So they're trying to make us believe that there's aliens and shit willing to attack us so they can overtake us? So we could like follow their rules? It's like, all right, I trust you. I don't want to die by aliens, so I'm going to trust you. That's what they're saying?
to make people want it, to embrace it, there's only one way. The only way. And they've known this forever. The Vatican knew this. The Vatican, the Pope wanted to rule the world. They all knew it, but they couldn't do it. They all knew it, but they knew one way, but there's no way how they're
What's
gonna
the
pull it
one
off.
way, man?
The only way is if there was some extraterrestrial threat from up above us. That would be the only way. From up above us.
Up above us.
That would be the
No, that's
only
fucked up.
way
Let me stop.
to have everyone embrace the one world government.
Well, there you have it.
Hell
Watch out
nah.
for UFO